My name's Ian Flanagan, and I'm a Senior Solutions Engineer here at Sauce Labs.
In this video, we're going to show you how you can point your existing automation at Sauce Labs and the minimal number of code changes that you need to make. So of course, one of the prerequisites is that you have a valid Sauce account, and that's basically it. Let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to show you is a Protractor example. So if we look at this config file, this is a very basic config file. Keep in mind that your config file may vary dramatically, but you probably have your Selenium address, which is pointed to a local host or a specific Selenium server. So if we go ahead and actually run this, we can see that it starts up the Selenium server locally and runs the test locally. Our desired goal is to run this specific test on Sauce Labs. We're going to go ahead and do that. So if we go into this file again, we're going to make a couple of small changes. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add these 2 lines of code to our test. So these are process environment variables that we're going to pass from the command line. So let's go ahead and add those in there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to comment this line out. Let's clean this up so it looks a little better. Save this. So you notice we're going to comment out the Selenium local address. When we pass in the Sauce username and access key, it will know automatically to run this test on Sauce. We're going to go ahead and save this change. The next lines I want to run, I'm going to export my Sauce username and Sauce access key. So I would copy those here. Obviously, you'd know your Sauce username to log in, but to obtain your Sauce access key, once you've logged in to saucelabs.com, click on Account and click on User Settings. Scroll down to where it says access key, and you can copy your access key to the clipboard, and you can go ahead and cut and paste that in here. And let's go back to our configuration. We're going to save this change. And now we're going to go ahead and run our configuration again. And you notice now that it's pointing to the Sauce Labs endpoint. Of course, we didn't have to make any of those changes. It was really, really simple to do that. And we can see our test is running, which is great. The next example I want to show you is a Java example. This is a basic Java example. You're going to have a couple of lines of code that you're going to need to add to this. When you create the instance of the driver for the Selenium server, you're probably going to be pointing to your local Selenium hub or grid URL. So when you create this line here, you're going to have Sauce username, Sauce access key, and the actual endpoint, which is Sauce Labs, of course. So if you scroll down here a little bit further, that's basically the nutshell in this test. So again, we'll go ahead and comment these lines out. But essentially, in here, your Sauce username, your Sauce access key, and then we're going to change the endpoint where we create the instance of the driver. And let's go ahead and run this. And we can see the test is running. Let's go back here and do a quick refresh. And we can see here we have our test running. So again, just to go back and reiterate, wherever you create the instance of the driver, you want to change the endpoint to be this. And essentially we're using kind of a string here to concatenate a couple of strings. We're going to pass in Sauce username, colon, Sauce access key, and then on demand here, .saucelabs.com. 443 WD hub. Other thing I'd point out here is if you click on getting started, running your first sample test, Java environment, this will bring up a specific example where you can get more details. Or this is even better, if you click on account and user settings and you scroll down a little bit further, you notice this is actually where we're creating the instance of the driver. So you could actually copy this and cut and paste that to your script as well. So our test should be finished, and our test is finished, and we can see here that it's complete. So hopefully this gave you a nice overview of how to point your existing automation to Sauce Labs. It would be very similar to do this with JavaScript, WebDriver IO, C#, or any other automation framework or language. We support most of them out there today. So hopefully you found this demonstration really helpful, and we will talk to you again in another video.